lot of Cowboys fans are dumping early on this move that I think we're all super in favor of. And so my question for them, my question for, obviously, if any of y'all disagree, who would you rather have had? Or are we just to the point in this place as a franchise where it's been 30 years and you're like, that's great. You could have got the greatest. Tom Landry could have come back from the grave in his prime and said, I got a new version of the flex defense you're not going to believe. And people would have been like, meh. Mm-hmm. Is that just where we are as a franchise because you've had so many years of nothing that you're like, whatever. The move they made is probably the wrong one.
I think you're onto something there. There's a lot of people who are just down on this team. Believe
we certainly haven't helped.
It's very fair. It's a very fair feeling, but for Cowboys fans. But they're down on it and they don't believe in it. I think Schottenheimer believes in himself and what he's trying to accomplish. I think, and we got Eric Chiafalo in studio with us right now too. I think that he's at the forefront of, hey, we got to move on things, and I want fresh ideas around here. Mm-hmm. And I think that he's really the one, I feel, that's trying to make some change happen around that organization right now.
Yeah, Shotty for sure. And this is clearly a Shotty kind of hire, and that's what we thought
Feels
it was
like
going to be.
A win for him, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a win for him. And you saw the way he built out the offensive staff last year, which was not a bunch of household names that have a bunch of NFL skins on the wall. He dipped into the college ranks. I mean, Clayton Adams was a guy that once you started to investigate a little bit, you're like, okay, he clearly can build a rushing attack, but he wasn't like a household name either until he kind of popped up on the radar a little bit. So, and you saw how successful the offense was able to be. So, I mean, it's an inexact science. It's very, very difficult. Like trying to identify a quarterback, very difficult. Trying to figure out who's going to be a good head coach, very difficult. So, it's hard to know for sure. But I mean, there were times when McCarthy brought in Mike Nolan. It was like, okay, this guy's been a head coach. He's done a lot of things as a defensive coordinator. You can respect it. That fell flat. And then Dan Quinn. I think I was a part of the brigade that was like, really, we're going to go Dan Quinn, we're going to recycle this guy, but he reinvented himself in a way that nobody really could have anticipated, and so that worked out. Eberflus, skins on the wall, totally failed. So you don't really know, but just the track record of this guy and Fangio loving him the way that he did, and you get to steal from Philadelphia a little bit.
Yes.
I am excited about it.
And I will tell you, the fact that, like, to your point, the fact that it is a name that just your casual fan would not know, I think that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great sign that the Cowboys are doing things differently. And I said before the season, I thought there was no chance in hell that the Cowboys would trade Mike Parsons, right? Mm-hmm. That's just not their MO. And then they did. And now, oh my goodness, are you actually letting a head coach pick more of his coordinators, which seems like the lowest possible bar, mm-hmm. but yet it's one we haven't been able to clear for a long time. And that's where we are. Jerry did not pick a name that people know, and that's one of the many reasons that I love it, and I talked about this with you in the last segment. This feels like a coach that is on the ascension. Now, whether or not he topped out already, well, we'll find out, obviously. But I like this much better than, hey, I couldn't cut it as a head coach, or I failed as a defensive coordinator somewhere else, but I got a good name. Give me a shot.
The 979, are we that unorganized? I think it's disorganized, by the way, that we have to hire someone to coordinate our defense, and I think that's a hilarious text. I appreciate that.
But not our offense. We do not need to hire somebody to coordinate our offense, so that's a good thing.
I got very excited when I was driving home listening to Broadus talk about what he was hearing from the Gang of Seven about him, about Parker specifically. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I had already was looking at the Fangio tree and, like, what that looked like, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then hearing Broadus, what was it that, like, caught you that you were like, okay, that's something I can key in on? Because it was the teacher communicator thing that I heard that I was like, man, that's something that there was definitely a disconnect with this group and their defensive coordinator last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing right there. And there, when you read different sort of deep dive articles on this guy, one of the things that he has is like the communication factor, where like he's calling guys out in meetings. Like he wants to know what you have to say, and he wants you to come into his office with questions.
Yeah.
Like he wants you and him to be on an extreme level of understanding. And if you have an idea, he's interested in it. And his ideas, he want to make sure that you know exactly what they are. So you can just randomly get called out in a meeting and be like, do you know what's going on right now? And so I think that's a big one. And then just the way that he apparently knew he wanted to be a coach by the time he was in 7th grade. Like everyone around him was like, yo, you kind of see the game a little bit differently, and you like standing on the sidelines more than you even want to be out there.
I want to be a star quarterback. You're like, great, I'll coach against you and figure out how to stop you.
Yeah, I'm going to throw the freaking book at you, and I'm going to put you in the blender.
Now, Chiafalo, I'm a dreamer. And I realized this dream.
I learned that about you because you have an America's Got Talent dream that is so ridiculous.
And very specific.
Very impossibly specific.
He hopes one day you'll join him.
Yeah.
On that
and the
thought,
world will live as one.
Yeah, that was from Imagine. So
I missed
my dream here is you've picked up a young coach. He's going to be your next defensive coordinator. He was the passing game coordinator with the Eagles. He was also the defensive backs coach. And my dream, if you will, is there's a safety in this draft that you would think would be a no-brainer top 5 pick, but you keep seeing all these mock drafts where he's 8, 9, 10 for some reason.
Excuse me, I get emotional when I talk about Caleb Downs.
I get it.
I see a lot of 10s. I see a lot of Cincinnati Bengals trying to keep him in Ohio, and they need defensive help more than anyone, even more than the Cowboys.
Caleb Downs might be the safest pick in this draft.
Mm-hmm. He's the safetiest pick.
Yeah,
they had Jesse Bates at one point when they went to the Super Bowls, and they don't have him anymore, so it seems like that would be the perfect guy to replace him.
Yeah. I don't know what the path is, especially since you don't actually have a 2nd and 3rd round draft pick. Maybe we could make a whole lot of other moves, but is there any way that we could match Christian Parker with his magical new safety of Caleb Downs?
I think there is a chance. There's always a chance. And the CeeDee Lamb one is the one that we always kind of harp on of anything can happen.
Yeah.
Does it feel far-fetched? It does, because he's the consensus top 2 or 3 defensive player in this draft. Yes. And like you said, just safe. This is going to be...
with still a high ceiling, though.
Yes, could be great and definitely will be good.
Yeah.
But the position, I think that's the safety position, not one of the premium conventional wisdom positions like an edge rusher or something like that. So when you talk about some of these guys that you hope to fall to you, Reuben Bain, the edge rusher, probably less likely because of the position.
I think you're right
and
about that.
And the safety position is one.
I would jump at that too.
Yes, no question. Derwin James.
Yes.
How many teams are kicking themselves right now that they didn't jump on Derwin James before he went off the board at pick 17 or whatever?
It was right before us.
Yeah, and we talked about Derwin James forever. Now, I like this. They're starting to get some pushback from the 401 Christian Parker. I effing love it. Maybe Jerry is moving different this year. And then we should be excited that this team is going away from the norm.
I don't think he ever had a coach that was this motivated. And I think that Schottenheimer, while he was here, he was observing and he was going, I don't like the way that they do things.
Yes.
And I'm going to have to be the one. They want somebody to do those things. They want somebody to say, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get these interviews set up. I think McCarthy was more than happy to be like, I'll coach, just let me know when you guys need me. You know, and Jason Garrett was, right in line with the Cowboys. Let's work together, but their timeline is what their timeline is. I think Schottenheimer's like, I understand this timeline has to go fast, and we need to move quickly.
Yeah, and he's just willing to get out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
Too often you see it's just, who have I worked with before? Who do I know has done something before? And
doing real interviews.
Yeah, Schotty's like, no, let me get a full landscape here of the football world, and let me dig deep, and whether it's guys that I've worked with before or I know, it doesn't matter.
Or coached against.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that had that conversation with Schottenheimer going, man, I was trying to come up with some plays, and you guys, like, this was fun.
Yes.
This was you gave me hell.
Yes.
And I wonder what that conversation was like in the interview.
That's a great point where it's like, whether it's the Vikings guy or obviously this dude with the Eagles, you're like, hey, what when you saw my offense, how are you trying to attack it, and how can that even just make the Cowboys offense that much better here moving forward?
I'm in the midst of like a mini conversation with this person from the 214, and I just want to throw this out there. Was talking about, hey, I'm not into it because you still have the same GM. And I was like, well, the GM's never going to change, and it's never going to change out of the family. And they said, exactly, which is why they quit watching in 2009, stop feeding the problem. So we get new listeners all of the time. I'm going to say this again. For everyone who is able to quit this team or just root for a different team magically, I envy that. I wish for that all of the time. Sports fandom, especially around DFW, includes so much sadness. But the other thing is, I'm not going to quit supporting the Cowboys, and it has nothing to do with Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, or anybody else involved with the Jones family. I've talked about this before. I will say it again. I grew up falling in love with sports by watching the Rangers and the Cowboys with my mom. I got Brandon into sports by watching the Dallas Cowboys. That is part of my family, and my family has been supporting and watching the Cowboys since before Jerry Jones, and we'll do it long after he is gone. All right? And so I'm not watching and supporting the Cowboys to support Jerry Jones. It's because this is where I was born, and this is my effing team, for better or worse. Sometimes I hate it.
Yeah, but what about the fact that the Cowboys pay you to talk about opinions?
Oh, man. Yeah. Let me tell you something. You would know if the Cowboys paid me. I would make it very clear, all right? The whole reason that you should know the Cowboys don't pay us is because Jerry's swearing at Corey, he's hanging up the phone, he's threatening to fire Sean and RJ, and a couple of months ago he was like, oh, you'd rather us not win those games? And I was like, yeah, because your team's not good, and I wish you had better draft picks. And he just sat there and he was like, huh. Well, I'll be sure to write that down and attach your name to it. If we were getting paid by the Cowboys, you're damn right I would let you know from my giant mansion.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, that would definitely
I have a nice house, but not Cowboys money nice.
Marble floors.
Yeah. They're just regular floors.
Yeah.
Trust me, I would tell you if we had heated bathroom floors and a heated toilet seat because the Cowboys paid us.
You have Hawaiian punch coming out of your water fountain.
So true.
Gosh,
and unlimited Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah, the Hawaiian rolls.
Yes,
the pretzel
absolutely.
ones, the pretzel Hawaiian rolls are amazing. Obviously, I have work to do, but I just want to leave you with this. And Hagee, I know you would agree. With Parker, I think we can all get on board with having a Christian in a leadership role.
Nice work, man. Nice work. I appreciate it.
Very well done.
Kevin,
Eric Chiafalo.
Hey, geniuses. Mad because Parker had more talent with Philly. No coach they hired was going to have worse talent than the Cowboys. This was a bottom talent team. Yes, absolute fact. As far as offense goes, this team was very good there.
Sure.
They were, and obviously we had the discussion this week about some of the shortcomings of the offense, and mostly it was we just like them to be a little more aggressive. Like that's really the whole factor there. But when it comes to the defense, we pointed out time and time and time again how little they had of talent they had. We're like, who are our linebackers here? Two of the things that I'd like to talk about when it comes to Parker, develop. That's something he likes to do. He likes to teach and develop players. Cooper DeJean has said, I wouldn't be the player I am without him. Quinyon Mitchell, same thing. That's two stars. Yes, they're talented, but because they give the credit to the coach they have and the work that he did helping develop them. This is now a draft that the Cowboys need to make sure they add some young prospect talent that he can help develop and mold. They also need to go spend in free agency. We're not letting them off the hook on that too.
Yeah.
That's not like we're still demanding. That has to happen. You can't just say coach hired, everything's fixed. That's not how it's going to work. You have to give the coach the talent to work with. That's the next phase. They can't get there yet. First thing they have to do was make sure they have their coaching staff. Then they go acquire the talent for it.
Yeah, and
now that's the question, though, Kevin. We don't know if they'll answer for us.
Yeah, man. Look, and that's part of the thing about being a fan, right? Like, no matter how many times your team has let you down, and with this franchise, it has been a lot. I've definitely seen the people who are like, oh, when I die, I want the Dallas Cowboys to be one of my pallbearers so they can let me down one more time. And, like, I think that's a funny bit. I really, really do. Is Christian Parker in and of himself going to fix anything? Everything? Absolutely not. Could he fix some things just by himself and his coaching acumen? I hope so. Could the Cowboys help fill some of the gaps with the overwhelming amount of salary cap money that they could create? I hope so as well. I think this team is better off with Christian Parker as their defensive coordinator than Matt Eberflus, or if it would have been somebody like Jonathan Gannon, all right? And so for me, that's a win of the day. Mm-hmm. Does that put you anywhere close to the Super Bowl? No. But I think it makes you potentially better.
You're saying because they still have Dak as the quarterback?
Because of all of the things that we talked about in this segment. There are so many other issues on this team as well. And so I think you took a tiny step towards getting better, all right? And I think that's a lot better than the alternative of staying in the exact same spot or taking another step backwards.
From the 682, you could drop a development hurricane on that defense, and it won't matter. We need players, not coach. You needed a coach.
You need... No, yeah. No. And I disagree with that so much.
You need both.
You needed a coordinator who had a clear vision. But you're right. If you don't get the right players who match what the coach's vision is, then what the hell are we doing?
And how much to it? You hear Chiafalo saying, hey, he'll call you out in a meeting. Do you think that he's going to sit back quietly while they're getting players, or he's going to raise his hand and say, I need this?
Well, I mean, I feel like definitely the second one, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think today, look.
I think you hire people that have opinions that might be similar to yours, but also that are different as well, that you can have conversations because those conversations make you better. And that's Shoddy's talked about that constantly. He talked about it with Sean and RJ. Hey, we can have these conversations because we're honest with each other about it. And I want a coach. If I'm Shoddy, I want a coach that's telling me, I got to get this instead of, give me whatever and I'll figure it out.
Yes, because isn't that at least what you thought your coordinator was last year? Sounds good, boss.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what? It might not make a difference. Christian Parker might be like, are you kidding me? Let's just use this for example. Caleb Downs is available at 12. What are we talking about? This is insanity not to take him. And then the powers that be might be like, hey, appreciate your feedback. We're not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that same thing might happen to Brian Schottenheimer. But I like it a lot better than the alternative. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. No, sir. Whatever you say, Mr. Jones, you're a Hall of Famer. That's fine. You could be a Hall of Famer, and I could still disagree with your opinion.
Somebody did ask this question. I think it's a fair question. Are we considering that no other big-name defensive coordinators wanted to interview with Dallas or be in Dallas?
I think Brian Flores is a great example of somebody who might not want to interview here. I'm just being honest. I think Brian Flores is a great example of we might have made a call, and he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's just the reality that we're living in, right?
I think there's a possibility that you look at the Cowboys and you're like, man, there's a lot. I think there's a possibility you look at the Eagles right now and you go, is that place toxic? Is that an environment that I want to be coaching in right now?
It's a fair question.
Is Sirianni the coach I want to be coaching with?
Yeah.
Go Birds. Okay, all right. I don't even remember saying that.
Hold on, Alec. Oh, I remember. Is that why Corey really likes this move? Because we picked up a coach from the Philadelphia Eagles.
You guys are a mess.
I get what you're saying.
I see right through you, Majors.
No, you don't.
I'm
very thick.
And for the record,
okay.
I want to read this one. I don't think this is wrong, the first part. I disagree with the second part. But the first part, sorry to be the voice of opposition. I don't like the choice because the Cowboys torch the Eagles' defense. People laugh at that thought, but I've said it many times before. I don't disagree Or I don't have a problem with anybody who doesn't like the choice. It's the people who come in and they're like, you guys are asshats for liking this with no logic behind it. Like, I might not agree with that person's logic because then they said they wanted Rex Ryan. I want anybody but Rex Ryan, but that's just me. But I at least appreciate that you gave us some logic instead of being like, you guys are stupid. It's okay if you disagree, and it's also okay if multiple things are true. I can love the Cowboys even though they piss me off. I can love this hire even though I kind of feel like our front office will drop the ball when it comes to the players needed to make this defense go anywhere. All of those things can be true at the same time.
According to Fox Sports, which I don't typically go use, the Eagles' passing defense was ranked 8th this year.
Great. What were you, 48?
They gave up 14 passing touchdowns this year.
We did that in a couple games.
The Cowboys, well, let me keep scrolling here and scrolling.
If it's better than 32, I'll be impressed.
Cowboys' passing defense was ranked 32 this year, giving up 251 yards per game. By the way, the Eagles gave up 189 passing yards per game this year. Cowboys gave up 251. Cowboys gave up 35 passing touchdowns. More than doubled the amount of passing touchdowns the Eagles gave up.
You said the Eagles were 14?
14.
That's 2.5 times as many passing touchdowns.
Kevin, do you know who had the least passing touchdowns given up this year?
Oh, the Eagles?
Eagles.
Hell yeah.
The second least, the Vikings at 15.
And Brian Flores is the man.
So, and again,
I agree. Brian Flores is the man.
Fangio is the architect of that defense. And Fangio has had a lot of success shutting down the best offenses on the planet, and he's been around for a while because of what his defense is. This is a guy that's been with him for a couple of years, understands the structure of that defense, probably has his own ideas on it, but understands the basics and what that defense is and how it can be used. What's happened? This Fangio-style defense has slowed down Patrick Mahomes. There've been other things that have been problems. So we're looking at a guy that his passing defense gave up 14. Again, had elite talent.
Great talent.
That he worked with too.
Sure.
This Cowboys defense, absolutely, they have to go get more talent. That's what they have 2 first-round picks for, if they want to do that. And that's what they have, an extra $40 million that they are sitting on right
70.
now. Potentially 70.
Easy.
With Pickens?
I can free up your Pickens money somewhere else.
Okay. Oh. They have $70 million then that they can go add some defensive players if they want to.
Yeah. No,
and I would imagine Christian Parker walks in the door during that meeting and says, "We got to figure out how to, we have to figure out how to make this how to spend some money on this defense."
And don't you hope that's how the interview went? He probably didn't use my vernacular, but I'll throw it out there. Oh, what do you think we need to do to fix up our defense? Your defense is a train wreck right now. Quite frankly, you guys sucked last year, and I'm still mad that we weren't able to put more points on you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love it if it starts with that, because obviously that's going to be a lot of talent-centric. I'm also excited about this going forward. I think we're probably going to talk about Jeremiah Love tomorrow, but I'm excited about this from a draft speculation point of view, because now you have a better idea of the person's vision, who you're going to be using as the defensive coordinator, and can figure out maybe better talent fits appropriately.
I really do. I'd love to hear. I hope Sean and RJ and Bobby are able to ask about the interview with between the two.
Sure.
Because I do think that Schottenheimer is looking at that going, hey man, I built an offense to beat you. And it wasn't easy, and you were a chore. You were a chore to deal with. I have 2 elite receivers, and I had to figure out ways to get them the ball against your passing defense. I think there's a lot of respect from this guy to that guy, in that respect. So and when you're hiring and you're going through that interview process, that definitely has to be one of those. Hey, I know what I'm getting out of you because I went up against it twice this year, and I've gone up against it before as well. So I'm excited about this. I hope the deal gets done. It's not done yet. All right, don't forget that.
Hey, on Wikipedia, it's done. Christian Parker is the new defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, somebody said, I hope Christian Parker asked for 3 first-round draft picks as part of his contract. Hey, if you want, I can figure out a way to get you 3 first-round draft picks. All right? One of them, they're going to be lower, and you're going to have to deal 12 away. But I could probably figure out a way to make that happen.
He interviewed yesterday. And
they knew.
And they got done with that interview, and they said, all right.
Because let's be honest about something. Like, especially in situations like this, you know before the person you're interviewing walks in the door in a lot of cases what you hope happens.
Well, that
right?
was their in-person interview with him too also. So yes.
And I'm
you're
sure
right.
before they even talked to him one time, they're like, man, I think this guy fits a lot of what we're looking to do. I hope he crushes the interview. And then if he does well in the interview and then you do the in-person, you got to be like, hey, this is the guy I want. And hopefully other people were like, me too. I just hope he does well in this interview. And apparently that was the case.
Our friend Ted Wynn, who we've had on the show a couple different times, when it comes to X's and O's,
unbelievable.
Brilliant. He quote tweeted Diana Rossini's tweet and said, I think this is going to be a great hire. Schematically, Dallas defense has been through a roller coaster, but he said he thinks this is going to be a great hire with the Fangio too high defense being part of something that's going to be implemented here.
But if we're being really, really fair about all this, it's okay if you don't think that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Think whatever you want.
You know what? As long as we're talking about adding more draft picks real quick, because this one just popped into my head. Would you trade pick 12 for pick 28 and 37? Or excuse me, 28 and 38. Those are Houston's picks. So end of the first rounder, early second rounder for pick 12. The math would essentially work. It would work on that one. It's not 3 first-round picks, but it's getting closer.
I'm not doing it today.
Okay.
But I will say this. Make sure those phones work whenever we get to pick 10.
Okay.
And then we'll thank you for bringing that to my attention. Make sure those phones are ready. Let's go ahead and give a pre-call just to see where they're sitting on that.
Right.
And then at 10, if Cincinnati takes my guy,
okay,
then I might make a move.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the other guy sitting there, I might go ahead and make that move too.
Yeah. I might.
That's part of the game is I need to know exactly because if I got a chance to put Downs with Parker and say, all right, for the next 2 to 3 years, you guys are together and y'all get to lead this defense.
Yeah, and so I might occasionally throw some of those things out at you because on the one hand, you're losing your most premium pick, but the person who said they wanted 3 first-round picks, this is the closest for now I can get for you as you now have 3 picks in the top 38. So if you're like just saying, hey, we need as much frickin' talent as possible added to this team, this is the scenario I would throw out. And if you don't like it, that's totally fine as well. I'm just saying that those are the kind of deals I think you'll be offered up, is something like that. We're the K&C Masterpiece. Whew, what a freaking hour right there. Thank you very much to Bobby Belt and Eric Chiafalo for jumping on. Thank you to the Cowboys for making a move that a lot of us think makes sense. Come